For decades, Hollywood has sold us an impossible standard of beauty. Perfect skin, perfect bodies, perfect everything. But what if we told you that some of your favorite stars have been hiding surprising birth conditions all along? Like the action hero whose childhood facial paralysis gave him his famous tough guy look, or the supermodel who doesn't have a belly button. From missing body parts to extra ones, these 25 celebrities kept their differences hidden for years. Number 25. Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone's life began with a serious challenge. During his birth, doctors used forceps, but something went wrong. The tool accidentally damaged a nerve in his face. This caused partial paralysis on the left side of his face, affecting his lip, tongue, and chin. His speech became slurred, and he had a unique expression that made him stand out. As a child, this made things tough for him. Other kids teased him for how he looked and spoke, making him feel alone and insecure. Stallone later admitted he didn't think he could ever succeed in life, let alone in movies. Even adults didn't believe in him. One teacher told his mom that Sylvester was only good enough for small jobs, like running a machine or working elevators. Instead of giving up, this made Stallone more determined to prove them wrong. He started bodybuilding to make himself stronger and more confident. Life didn't get easier as Stallone grew up. In the early 1970s, he was broke and sometimes even homeless. He struggled to find acting work. Directors made fun of his voice, and his looks made it hard for him to land roles. But everything changed in 1975. One night, Stallone watched a boxing match between Muhammad Ali and Chuck Wepner. The fight inspired him to write a story about a struggling boxer. He finished the script for Rocky in just 3 days, not knowing it would change his life forever. When Rocky came out in 1976, it was a huge success. The film won praise everywhere, and Stallone was even nominated for 2 Oscars. This was a big moment, because producers didn't want him in the movie at first. The rest, as you know, is history. Number 24. Gemma Arterton. Gemma Arterton also had a unique story. She was born with polydactyly, meaning she had 6 fingers on each hand. This wasn't unusual in her family. Her dad and granddad had it too. The extra fingers were just small bits of tissue without bones, and they were removed shortly after she was born. Doctors tied a string around them so they would fall off, a common method back then. Gemma has always been proud of this part of her life. She once called it her little oddity and said it made her feel special. But that wasn't the only thing that made her unique. She was also born with a crumpled ear. As a child, she sometimes felt different, even calling herself an oddball. Despite this, Gemma worked hard and dreamed big. She attended acting schools, eventually earning a spot at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, RADA. This was a big deal, especially since she came from a working-class family. Gemma's big break came in 2008 when she played Agent Fields in the James Bond film Quantum of Solace. The role brought her international fame, and the media even brought up her story about being born with extra fingers. Instead of feeling embarrassed, Gemma used the attention to talk about how everyone's differences make them special. In fact, she even joked about how useful extra fingers could be for things like texting or playing the guitar. Number 23. Gaten Matarazzo. Gaten Matarazzo, born with cleidocranial dysplasia, CCD, a rare condition that affects bones and teeth. For Gaten, this meant missing collarbones and having delayed teeth growth. He had to go through many surgeries because of this, but he never let it hold him back. Gaten's positive attitude helped him stand out. He even says that his condition has helped his acting career. His most famous role, Dustin in Stranger Things, was shaped by his real-life condition. When the show's creators learned about Gaten's CCD, they added it to his character's story. This made Dustin more relatable and gave viewers with disabilities someone to look up to. Outside of acting, Gaten works hard to raise awareness about CCD. He supports an organization called CCD Smiles, which helps people with the condition. In 2019, he shared details of one of his surgeries with his fans, using social media to educate people. Gaten believes that being open about his condition can help others feel less alone. Number 22. Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor grew up to be one of the most famous actresses in Hollywood, admired for her beauty and her unusual violet eyes. But behind her glamorous image, she dealt with hidden struggles that shaped her life. One of these was a rare condition called dystochiasis. This condition gave her an extra row of eyelashes, making her eyes even more striking. People loved how her thick lashes added to her charm. But the condition wasn't just about looks. It sometimes caused health problems. It could lead to heart issues, and Elizabeth had heart problems throughout her life. Still, her double lashes became one of the things that made her unforgettable. She also struggled with something less visible, scoliosis. This was a curve in her spine that caused her pain for most of her life. As she got older, the pain became worse, and it started to affect her daily life. By the time she was in her 70s, she couldn't do many of the things she loved. In 2004, she had surgery to fix 7 fractures in her spine, but even after that, the pain never fully went away. Elizabeth once said she felt stupid and feeble because of her body. Her strength in facing these challenges showed there was much more to her than just beauty. Number 21. Forest Whitaker. Forest Whitaker has a condition called ptosis, which makes one of his eyelids droop. Forrest inherited it from his father, and it gave him a distinct look. Some people might have seen it as a flaw, but Forrest embraced it. He could have had surgery to fix it, but he didn't want to change how he looked. He said, "I like it," and that confidence became a big part of his success. His unique look even helped his acting. The droopy eyelid made his characters look more intense or mysterious, especially when he played complex roles. For example, in The Last King of Scotland, his look added to the menacing nature of Idi Amin, the dictator he portrayed. Forrest didn't let his condition stop him from becoming a top actor. Instead, he turned it into something that set him apart. Number 20. Daryl Hannah. Daryl Hannah, the actress known for her roles in Splash and Blade Runner, had her own hidden struggle. She was diagnosed with autism when she was just 5 years old. Back then, people didn't know much about autism, and doctors told her mother that Daryl might never live a normal life. But her mother didn't listen. She chose to support Daryl instead of giving up on her. As a child, Daryl found comfort in repetitive movements like rocking back and forth, a behavior known as stimming. She also struggled to fit in at school. Other kids teased her because she was different, and she often felt lonely. Even as an adult, her autism made life tough. She hated being the center of attention, which is ironic for a movie star. Daryl avoided interviews, movie premieres, and other public events whenever she could. Despite her challenges, Daryl built a successful career in Hollywood. She starred in over 50 films, becoming a household name in the 1980s. For most of her life, she kept her autism a secret, but in 2013, she decided to share her story. She wanted to show others with autism that they weren't alone. Since then, she has become an advocate for autism awareness, inspiring many with her honesty and strength. Number 19. Michael Barrymore. From the moment he entered the world, his life was shaped by something rare and extraordinary. He was born with a condition called hypohidrotic ectodermal dysplasia. This condition, which affects only about 1 in 17,000 people, gave him a unique appearance. He didn't have sweat glands, hair, teeth, or fingernails. These features, while unusual, later became the reason he stood out in the world of movies. The cause of Michael's condition was linked to his father's exposure to radiation during a military mission in Hiroshima and Nagasaki after World War II. Despite being born with 26 birth defects, Michael grew up with resilience. He faced teasing and bullying as a child, but he never let it make him angry. Instead, he found ways to deal with it by speaking up and holding others accountable. This strong and determined attitude became a big part of who he was. Michael never planned to become an actor. He was discovered by chance in 1973 when a producer named George Pal met him at the small gift shop he was running in Venice, California. This unexpected meeting led to Michael's first role in a movie called Doc Savage, The Man of Bronze. Over the years, Michael appeared in more than 100 films and TV shows, including One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and Weird Science. People admired how he brought emotion and depth to roles that could have easily been seen as scary or strange. Beyond acting, Michael used his platform to raise awareness about his condition. He spoke at medical conferences, worked with charities, and encouraged encouraged people to embrace their differences. He once joked that not having sweat glands had a funny upside. He didn't have body odor, which he called his superpower. He also shared his life story in an autobiography, The Man Behind the Monsters, showing how he turned challenges into strengths. Number 18. Peter Dinklage. From the start, he stood out, not because of what he could do, but because of his height. Peter was born with achondroplasia, a common form of dwarfism. At just 4 feet 5 inches tall, he faced a world that often didn't understand him. As a child, Peter struggled with feelings of anger and frustration about how people treated him. But as he grew older, he learned to laugh it off. He realized that other people's judgments didn't define him. This attitude became a cornerstone of his life and career. From a young age, Peter loved performing. At just 5 years old, he played the lead role in a school play. By his teenage years, he knew acting was his true calling. After graduating from college with a drama degree, Peter faced the harsh reality of Hollywood. He was often offered roles that relied on stereotypes, like elves or leprechauns, but he refused to take them. He wanted to play real, complex characters, not ones defined by his height. It was a tough decision that meant turning down work, but Peter stuck to his principles. His big break came in 2003 with the movie The Station Agent. The role wasn't written for a person with dwarfism, which was exactly what Peter wanted. His performance won praise and showed Hollywood that he was more than capable of leading a film. But even with that success, challenges remained. Many roles focused only on his height, something Peter refused to let define him. Peter Dinklage's journey shows what's possible when you stay true to yourself. He broke barriers, redefined what it means to be a leading actor, and opened doors for more diverse stories. For Peter, it's never been about being different. As he says, it's about being human. Number 17. Tina Fey. When Tina Fey was 5 years old, something happened that changed her life forever. It was a normal day in 1975, and she was playing in the front yard of her home in Upper Darby, Pennsylvania. Out of nowhere, a stranger walked up to her and did something shocking. He slashed her face with a sharp object. Tina didn't understand what had happened at first. She thought the stranger had just drawn on her face with a pen, but it was far worse. Her father, Donald Fey, found her and quickly tried to help. Tina remembers asking him, "Am I going to die?" Her father didn't waste words. He simply said, "Don't speak," as he held her wound closed. The moment was terrifying, and it left Tina with a scar that runs from her cheek to her chin on the left side of her face. For years, many people didn't even notice the scar. Tina avoided talking about it and made sure cameras didn't focus on that side of her face. She found little tricks to hide it, like standing a certain way or turning her head slightly, but she never let it hold her back. Growing up, Tina was a confident and cheerful kid. She didn't feel like the scar made her any less special. Her husband, Jeff Richmond, believes the incident shaped who Tina is. He thinks it made her sharp, funny, and able to handle life's challenges with humor. Tina's wit and resilience became her greatest strengths, and they helped her become one of the most successful comedians of all time. But the attack wasn't something she forgot. Years later, when Tina became a mother, the memories came back. When her daughter Alice turned 5, the same age Tina was when she was attacked, Tina started worrying about how to keep her child safe. Even after so many years, the incident stayed with her. Number 16. Harry Styles. Harry Styles has a unique feature that makes him stand out. He was born with 4 nipples. Yes, 4. This condition is called supernumerary nipples, and it's rare but not unheard of. Harry's extra nipples are smaller and sit below his regular ones. They're not very noticeable, but fans love talking about them. Harry first confirmed this during an interview in 2017. When asked if the rumor was true, he laughed and said, "Correct," even joking about where they are. It's just like Harry to make something unusual sound cool and fun. This condition happens when the body is forming before birth. Sometimes, cells meant to make nipples end up in the wrong place. Harry's fans love this connection and have even made fun art and merchandise celebrating his 4 nipples. Harry has always been confident about his body. He's often seen shirtless in performances and photo shoots, and he's never tried to hide his extra nipples. Instead, he embraces them. In a radio interview, when asked about his best trait, he joked, "Shall we go with the nipples thing?" That kind of humor and self-confidence is why so many people admire him. Other celebrities, like Mark Wahlberg and Lily Allen, also have extra nipples, but Harry's 4 make his case more unique. His openness about it has even started conversations about accepting our bodies as they are. In an industry that often focuses on looking perfect, Harry shows that being different is something to celebrate. Number 15. Wen Phoenix. Wen Phoenix is one of the most unique actors in Hollywood. People are drawn to his incredible performances, but there's something else about him that stands out. A small scar on his upper lip. This scar has often been misunderstood. Some think it's from an accident or surgery, but it's actually from a condition he was born with called a microform cleft lip. This condition is the mildest form of cleft lip and happens very early when a baby is still developing. It looks like a faint scar between the lip and nose, unlike more severe clefts that create visible gaps. Wen has never made a big deal out of it, and he hasn't tried to hide it. Instead, it's just become a part of his face, making him even more memorable. In fact, it adds to the depth of his roles, like in Joker, where his intense expression played a huge part in the story. In 2020, there was an incident where TV host Wendy Williams made fun of his scar. Her remarks upset many people and led to conversations about how we treat others with visible differences. Though it was an unpleasant moment, it helped more people learn about cleft lip conditions and why they shouldn't be mocked. Wen's acting career is proof that being different doesn't hold you back. From Gladiator to Walk the Line and Joker, he has become one of the most respected actors of our time. His openness about his scar, even though he rarely talks about it, has made others feel more confident about their own differences. Number 14. Dan Ackroyd. Dan Ackroyd, the comedy legend behind Ghostbusters and Saturday Night Live, has a fun and unusual secret. He was born with webbed toes. This condition, called syndactyly, means that 2 or more toes are joined together. It's not something that affects his daily life, but it makes him unique. Dan's life has been full of challenges and triumphs. Along with his webbed toes, he has talked openly about having Tourette's syndrome and Asperger's syndrome, both of which he was diagnosed with as a child. These conditions could have made life harder for him, but instead they became a part of what made him so creative. He even credits his Asperger's for inspiring the idea behind Ghostbusters. Even though Dan doesn't talk much about his toes, they are just one small detail in a long and amazing career. He's not only made us laugh in movies like The Blues Brothers and Trading Places, but he's also started successful businesses like the House of Blues music venues. Dan shows us that being different doesn't stop you from doing great things. It can even help you stand out. Number 13. Kesha. Kesha, the pop star behind hits like TikTok and We Are Who We Are, has always embraced her quirks. But one of her most surprising revelations came when she shared that she was born with a tiny tail. Yes, a real tail. This rare condition, called a vestigial tail, happens when the tail-like part of a baby's body doesn't fully disappear during development. Kesha's tail was only about 1/4 of an inch long, and doctors removed it when she was a baby. She later joked about it, saying she was sad it had been chopped off. It's an unusual story, but it fits perfectly with Kesha's bold and fearless personality. She has always encouraged her fans to celebrate what makes them different, and her openness about her tail is just another example of that. Number 12. Karolina Kurkova. Karolina Kurkova is one of the world's most famous supermodels, but there's something unusual about her that most people wouldn't notice at first. She doesn't have a belly button. This came to light during a fashion show in 2008, when fans noticed that her stomach looked smooth where her belly button should be. The reason for this is a surgery she had as a baby. She was born with an umbilical hernia, a condition where part of the intestine pushes through the abdominal wall near the belly button. Doctors fixed it, but the surgery left her without a traditional navel. Even without a belly button, Karolina has had an incredible career. She has walked the runways for the biggest fashion brands and been on countless magazine covers. She doesn't let her unique feature hold her back. Instead, she owns it with confidence. Carolina's story shows us that even in an industry obsessed with perfection, being different can still make you a star. Number 11. Katherine OHara. Katherine OHara is a well-loved actress known for her roles in Home Alone and Schitt's Creek. But there's something unusual about her that many people don't know. Katherine was born with a rare condition called situs inversus. This means all her organs are flipped to the opposite side of her body, like a mirror image. For example, her heart is on the right side of her chest instead of the left. This condition is very rare, happening in about 1 in 10,000 people. Doctors found out about Katherine's condition when she was young, though the exact details aren't public. What's amazing is that having situs inversus doesn't usually cause health problems. Katherine has lived a normal, happy life, and her career has been hugely successful. People with this condition are more likely to be left-handed, but it's unclear if Katherine is. There are some challenges with having situs inversus. For example, if Katherine ever needed an organ transplant, it would be harder to find a match because her organs are reversed. And in emergencies, doctors need to know about her condition to avoid confusion. To stay safe, Katherine probably wears a medic alert bracelet to let people know about her unique anatomy. Despite these challenges, Katherine sees her condition with humor. She once joked, "I'm all backwards inside." It's a great party trick. Katherine's life proves that even rare traits don't have to hold you back. Number 10. Seal. Seal, the singer of Kiss from a Rose, has a voice that's loved all over the world. But he's also known for the scars on his face, which come from a condition called discoid lupus erythematosus, DLE. This is a disease where the immune system attacks the skin, causing red patches that can leave scars. Seal noticed his first symptoms when he was 23. At first, doctors didn't know what was wrong. It wasn't until he became famous that he could see a top specialist and finally got a diagnosis. Seal struggled with his scars when he was young. He felt self-conscious and found it hard to have confidence, especially as he was starting his music career. But over time, his view of his scars changed. Now, he sees them as part of who he is. He once said, "If I could change anything about my life, I wouldn't change a thing." Seal's condition is rare, affecting about 1 in 2,000 people. Sunlight can make it worse, so he has to be careful about exposure. Treatments can help, but the scars remain. Instead of letting this hold him back, Seal has embraced his appearance. He even says his scars made him recognizable and helped shape his identity as an artist. Number 9. Megan Fox. Megan Fox is famous for her beauty and roles in movies like Transformers, but she has a small physical difference that many people don't notice right away: her thumbs. Megan has a condition called brachydactyly type D, which means her thumbs are shorter and wider than usual. It's rare, affecting less than 0.5% of people, and it became a topic of discussion when close-up photos of her hands went viral. Megan has always been calm about the attention her thumbs get. She doesn't understand why people find it so interesting, saying, "They're just kind of short." Is it really that crazy? She even joked about a nickname for her thumbs, murderer's thumbs, which comes from palmistry. She laughed, saying, "I'm actually very patient, but if you push me too far, you better watch out." While Megan seems confident about her unique feature, she has been open about her struggles with body image. She revealed that she has body dysmorphia, meaning she often feels unhappy with how she looks, even though others see her as beautiful. Number 8. Andy Garcia. Andy Garcia, known for The Godfather Part 3, has a surprising story from his birth. When he was born, he had a conjoined twin attached to his left shoulder. The twin wasn't fully developed and was about the size of a tennis ball. Doctors quickly removed it after Andy was born, leaving just a scar. This condition, called heteropagous twinning, is very rare, happening in about 1 in 50,000 births. Andy has been private about this part of his life, and he rarely talks about it in interviews. The scar on his shoulder has been a subject of curiosity for fans, and some believe this is why he avoids shirtless scenes in movies. Number 7. Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey's feet became a strange topic in 2012 when a photo made people believe she had an extra toe. The rumors spread everywhere, and people couldn't stop talking about it, but the truth wasn't that exciting. A doctor later explained that Oprah didn't have a 6th toe. Instead, she has a condition called splay foot. This makes the bones in her feet spread out, creating bumps called bunions. One bump is near her big toe, and another, called a tailor's bunion, is near her baby toe. From certain angles, these bumps can look like an extra toe. Splay foot is common, especially in women. It can happen because of wearing tight shoes, getting older, or even gaining weight. For someone like Oprah, who stands a lot during shows and events, this condition can be uncomfortable, but Oprah has found ways to manage it. She continues to wear stylish shoes and appear confident, showing that it hasn't slowed her down. Number 6. Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington has something unique about him too. His pinky finger. It's dislocated and bends in strange ways. This happened when he was young and playing football. During one game, he injured his finger badly. Over the years, the same finger kept getting hurt until it stayed permanently bent. Denzel jokes about it now, calling it his magic pinky, and even shows it off during interviews. The injury might sound serious, but Denzel never let it hold him back. He even had surgery to fix it, but the finger still bends oddly. Instead of hiding it, he turned it into a funny story, even entertaining his kids and their friends with his weird pinky. Number 5. Padma Lakshmi. Padma Lakshmi's story is about something much bigger. When she was 14, she was in a terrible car accident. Her family's car flew off the road and crashed into a tree after falling 40 feet. Padma's arm and hip were badly injured, and she needed surgery to fix her arm. The surgery left her with a long scar, which she was very self-conscious about as a teenager. She often tried to hide it. Over time, Padma's view of her scar changed. She began to see it as a sign of survival and strength. It even helped her stand out in the modeling world, where being different can be an advantage. Today, she embraces her scar, calling it a part of her life story. The accident also shaped her views on women's health, as her mother suffered serious injuries and had to make difficult decisions because of the crash. Padma now uses her platform to support women's health care and share her story of resilience. Number 4. Sarah Highland. Sarah Highland, known from Modern Family, has faced challenges most people can't imagine. She was born with kidney dysplasia, a condition where the kidneys don't develop properly. Over her life, she's had 16 surgeries, including 2 kidney transplants. The first transplant was in 2012, with her father donating a kidney to save her life. But a few years later, her body started rejecting it. In 2017, her younger brother donated a kidney for her second transplant. The years in between were tough. Sarah had to go through dialysis and lost a lot of weight, which led to public criticism. On top of that, she also suffers from endometriosis and had to deal with more surgeries for that too. Despite everything, Sarah stayed strong. She's open about her struggles, raising awareness for organ donation and chronic illness. Number 3. Billy Corgan. Billy Corgan, the voice behind the Smashing Pumpkins, had a secret for most of his life. He was born with a large birthmark called a port wine stain, covering his left arm and hand. Growing up, he always hid it. Kids teased him about it, and strangers asked if he was burned or sick. This left him feeling different, so he wore long sleeves all the time. Even people who knew him for years had no idea it was there. For decades, Billy kept his birthmark hidden. But in 2024, at age 57, he decided to stop hiding. He shared a photo on Instagram showing his arm for the first time. In the post, he talked about how hard it had been to live with the mark. Sometimes, in cold weather, it turned dark purple, and people would stare or ask uncomfortable questions. Despite all of this, Billy finally embraced it. He said it was time to stop feeling ashamed of something that made him unique. Fans were shocked but supportive. Many sent him messages saying they also had birthmarks or felt different in some way. They thanked him for being honest and brave. For Billy, sharing his story was about more than the birthmark. It was about being proud of who he is. Around the same time, he and his wife announced they were expecting another child, making it a new chapter in his life, full of honesty and self-acceptance. Number 2. Ashton Kutcher. Ashton Kutcher is a Hollywood star with a surprising quirk. He has webbed toes. His second and third toes on both feet are connected by a small flap of skin. This condition, called syndactyly, is rare but harmless. Ashton first revealed his toes during a 2008 talk show. Instead of hiding them, he took off his shoes and socks and joked about it. The audience loved it. The condition doesn't bother Ashton at all. Unlike webbed fingers, which might cause issues, webbed toes don't really affect anything. Surgery is an option, but Ashton never felt the need to change them. He even makes fun of his toes in interviews, showing how comfortable he is with being different. Ashton's attitude is refreshing. In a place like Hollywood, where everyone seems perfect, he shows that little imperfections don't matter. By laughing about his toes, he reminds people that being unique is okay, even cool. Number 1. Jessica Alba. Jessica Alba may seem like she's always had it all, but her childhood was tough. She had serious health problems from a young age. She suffered from asthma and had pneumonia over and over, 4 or 5 times a year. She also had a collapsed lung not once, but twice. By the time she was 11, she had already been through 5 surgeries. Jessica spent so much time in hospitals that she felt isolated from other kids. It wasn't easy for her to feel like she belonged. Jessica's health problems made her stronger. She started acting at 13, landing her first movie role in Camp Nowhere. Acting became her escape, a way to leave behind her struggles, but her health also inspired her to help others. In 2011, she co-founded The Honest Company, which focuses on safe, non-toxic products for families. She wanted to make life easier for parents and kids, especially those dealing with health challenges. Jessica's journey shows how hard times can shape a person. Instead of letting her problems hold her back, she used them to drive her forward. Now, she's a successful actress, entrepreneur, and mom.